With the entire show available on our YouTube channel. Now today we've got some interesting guests as we try and escalate the discussion around the accident or the building collapse that happened in Nigeria. It is now exactly 2 weeks ago today. 115 people lost their lives, including 84 South Africans. A little bit later we'll look at evictions in Bloemfontein. That should be quite interesting, and we conclude today's show by talking rugby. Of course, there's a big match in Cape Town. It's sold out at Newlands. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Craig Murray has been with the team the whole week. He'll give us a little update from the mother city. But first, let's get the news from Katrine Malone.
Well, hello and welcome to Newsroom. I'm Katrine Malone, and let's take a look at those top stories this morning. Gauteng Premier David Makhura has asked for an urgent report on the water shortages in the province to be submitted to him today. Meanwhile, Rand Water has denied reports of water restrictions, but say they may redirect water from areas that have enough water to areas which are still running dry.
What you're going to do now, you're going to look at rationing, switch off some of the areas that probably have water during the day, to assist the areas that have been without water for some time.
A deadlocked meeting of Parliament's ad hoc committee on Nkandla will continue today. It was suspended last night when the ANC refused to budge over the opposition's demand that President Jacob Zuma appear before the committee. The ANC MPs said the president could not be held liable for misspending on his Nkandla home, nor made to refund the money. Moving to Africa, Sierra Leone has ordered the indefinite quarantine with an immediate effect of 3 districts and 12 tribal chiefdoms, a move that will affect more than 1 million people. This as the country continues to battle the deadly Ebola outbreak. More than 1/3 of the West African country's population are now unable to move freely as government battles the epidemic. And on that note, US President Barack Obama has said that the global community has not been doing enough to respond to the crisis posed by the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. While addressing a high-level UN meeting yesterday, Obama said that there is still a significant gap between where we are and where we need to be.
We are not moving fast enough. We are not doing enough. Right now, everybody has the best of intentions, but people are not putting in the kinds of resources that are necessary to put a stop to this epidemic.
One of more than 200 schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram rebels in northeastern Nigerian village of Chibok was freed this week, 4 months after the girls were abducted. Parents of the girls kidnapped are left considering whether to hold funerals to mourn their daughter's loss. According to United Nations Education Envoy Gordon Brown, it's a Nigerian custom that if people are missing for 4 months or more, then closure is required. In April, extremist group Boko Haram abducted 276 girls from their school dormitories in northern Nigeria. A total of 219 girls are still missing. Remember, all those top stories and more are available on our Newsroom Facebook page. You can also follow us on Twitter at SABC Newsroom. Evan, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katrine, for that news update. Time for us, of course, to talk about the tragedy at the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Scone, in which 115 people died, the majority of them South Africans. It has cast a dark cloud on TV ministry and charismatic churches. Since the dawn of democracy, TV ministries in the industry and charismatic churches flourished here in South Africa. Charismatic pastors occupy television airwaves on a daily basis, and in the process turning into millionaires overnight almost, it seems. Now, thousands of people have moved from traditional churches to swell the ranks of these new churches, conducting services daily, sometimes having sermons 3 to 4 times a day. What are these churches offering that cannot be found in local churches? Amongst the things that they promise their worshippers is wealth or riches, good health, laying of hands, casting of demons, healing, including incurable diseases like cancer, HIV/AIDS, and many more. And now Ghana and Cameroon have banned all the activities associated with the TB Joshua ministry. Newsroom is fortunate today to have a survivor of the Nigerian church tragedy, Mpho Tau, who's joining us live from Mahikeng. Also joining us live from Pretoria on the right-hand side of your screen is theologian Dr. Eugene Botha. Thank you to the both of you. And then here in Johannesburg studio, we have Archbishop Stephen Zondo, the founder of the Rivers of Living Waters Ministry, and is also a well-known television minister and known for healing the sick. But I want to start right at the beginning, and I want to start with Mpho Tau in Mahikeng. Thank you for joining us, Mpho. Just tell us your story, your travels to Nigeria, the collapse of the building. Give us the account, what happened to you 2 weeks ago.
I actually went to Lagos on the 9th. I arrived at OR Tambo around 4 a.m. and then we fly from OR Tambo to Nigeria around past 9. We arrived there past 3, if I'm not mistaken. When we arrived there, the reception was very kind in such a way that from the Nigerian airport, we were escorted by the police officers that side. We arrived at church. It was very welcoming. It was very warm. And then we couldn't attend the first service on our arrival. However, the following day, we were taken for breakfast. And after breakfast, we went for Bible studies with one of the associate pastors known as Wise Men. And the lessons of Bible study was very profitable, especially to me. And then we've been going to church. The very building that you saw collapsing, it was the very building that we were staying in. That was our guest place. We stayed there. We were sleeping there. And then during the meal times, would go for our meals in the dining hall, which was actually in the ground floor. And then on Friday, that was on the 12th, we were from the church as usual. And then we went for lunch. You know, for some reasons, I actually arrived a bit late at the dining hall for the lunch. I was captured by the building. I was looking at the building of the church. It's so quite nice. It's so beautiful. You know, I was looking at the church to say, but how did a human being having this kind of a vision of building such a beautiful building? I'm talking about the church, not the guest house. And then I arrived a bit late. I think 6 or 7 minutes after my other fellow brethren were sitting down by there. I went to see one of the brothers. We also from Mahikeng. We were very happy to meet each other that side. And I was actually exchanging the dollars with him because he arrived on Thursday and they were still having a more chance to can go to the airport with the agent to exchange the money. So shortly after that, I went to the table. One of my friends secured a seat for me. And on that day, I purposed in my heart to say, I want to be where we'll be first served with the meals so that I don't be late to the Bible study, because immediately after the meals, we had to go again for another session for the Bible study. And then I sat down. While immediately as I was sitting down, I heard a noise. You know, I thought the utensils are falling down because there were cups whereby anytime you feel like having a cup of coffee, you can go and make a coffee for you. But when I look up, I saw the wall coming down on top of us. You know, the first thing that came out of my mouth, I screamed the name of Jesus. Remember, I am a Christian. I screamed the name of Jesus. We all fell down. It was a stampede. It was not easy altogether. I personally, I stayed underneath those rubbles for 13 hours. You know, all that period, the hours that I stayed there, we were praying. We were calling upon the name of Jesus, all of us. Something that I really appreciate. We were not praying a selfish prayers. We were praying for one another. You know, at some times, I would feel that I am becoming so weak. Remember, there was no oxygen. There was no ventilation. It was extremely dark. It was so scaring. You know, I, Mpho, being a Christian woman, I reminded God his promises. I quoted the scripture that says, "Do not fear, for I shall uphold you with my righteous right hand." I said to my God that, Lord, when I look at the whole thing, I am forced and bound to fear. But I choose not to fear. And you, God, do what you're supposed to do. I said, Lord.
Thank you, Mpho. I just want to move on. Thank you for giving us that account. I'll come back to you shortly. But let's go to Pretoria quickly before we escalate the conversation in Johannesburg. Dr. Botha, you've worked in theology and religion at university for more than 20 years. Why in the last 15, 20 years have we seen such a massive rise of charismatic churches in South Africa particularly, and why do you think so many people travel to especially Nigeria to attend these types of churches?
People flock to these churches because these churches really offer them something. These churches are exploding in Africa more and more for one simple reason. These charismatic churches do not have a central dogma. They don't have a central set of teachings. They don't have to comply with rules, and they don't have to report to a central authority. This means they can basically do what they want. And it's not a bad thing, but it's also open for abuse. But having said that, they grow so fast and they're so popular because they don't have a central controlling mechanism. So when they go into a specific area, they really become indigenous. They become what the people in that area want. If they're in Nigeria, they're very, very Nigerian. If they're in KwaZulu-Natal, they're very, very KwaZulu-Natal. If they're in South Korea, they're very Korean. But they're all charismatic churches. So they indigenize. And that makes them so popular because people feel this is our church. It speaks our language. Whereas maybe a Catholic church or a Dutch Reformed church or a Reformed church from the Netherlands or the Anglican church, they have that still got the European feel to it.
Yes.
Whereas these charismatic churches are really indigenous.
And they really connect with people within the area, so to speak, the language of those people. Now, Archbishop Zondo, you're a man that is the founder of the Rivers of Living Waters ministry here in South Africa. How do you view TB Joshua and what happened, especially the collapse that happened in Nigeria?
I view him as the man of God, number one. And number two, the collapse is a tragedy. It's an accident. That's how I see it.
What do you make of his continued insistence of not taking responsibility and saying that this was a terror attack, not the fact that a building collapsed because we didn't stick to the building regulations in that country? Surely he must take some responsibility for what happened.
I think what we need to do is that let us wait for all the report out of all the investigation. Then I think from there, then we can answer certain questions because we don't know what he's saying. And we don't know what caused the collapse of the building. After the investigations, then I think we can debate on that one.
What about the victims, Archbishop? What about those people? It took 5 days before TB Joshua said any word or was seen anywhere. They refused to let rescue workers into the site for the critical 48 hours after. And that cost many lives. And I want to ask Mpho maybe that question. Maybe we can go to you, Mpho. How long were you guys stuck in this darkness, as you called it?
I personally stayed underneath those rubbles for 13 hours.
13 hours. So from lunchtime on the Friday until after midnight or until early hours of the Saturday morning.
Yes.
Pastor, I want to come to you and talk about miracles and about offering people miracles. You yourself, you claim to do these types of healing. Why don't we see the healing that happens?
Where? With us or with the church?
In general,
Okay.
in general with charismatic churches.
Okay, what I can tell you is that I preach the word and Jesus confirms the word with signs and wonders. I don't perform miracles. I am not a faith healer. I'm preaching the word, then God, I'm just doing what he says. Lay hands on the sick, they shall recover. I am not healing, he does it.
What do you say to the kind of preachers we have in South Africa that sell holy water to people for 15 rand for a litre, who would then, if they drink the water, they would be cured of all illnesses? The man I'm talking about is Dr. H.Q. Nala, who does this in KwaZulu-Natal. And he's not the only one. There's faith honey being sold and so forth. Do you think the name of God is being used in vain by these types of preachers?
I'm not sure when you say the name of God is being used in vain when somebody sells water. Maybe he sells that water to propagate the gospel. I'm not sure about that one. But what I know is that...
Do you sell water?
Yes, I do.
And what does the water do? Okay, that's why you...
The water, I think, in your body is necessary. For example, more especially because we deal with a lot of people that are sick. And they take medication, but people are afraid to take water. And they don't like to drink water. So I strongly believe that when you drink water, whatever medication that you have put in your body, they will work.
So it's not specific miracle water that if you drink it, your illnesses go away.
It's your faith.
Your faith is what heals you.
It's what heals you.
Okay, I understand.
Yes,
I've heard that one before. I want to, Mpho, ask you a final question around the cost of your journey. Tell us, what did it cost you to go to Nigeria, and what sort of payments are you expected to make to be a member of this type of church?
I don't have to pay anything for me to be a member of any charismatic church. I've paid about 17.5 to go to Lagos. That money, in actual sense, it was for my accommodation in the very place that we're staying in, and the meals, and the plane as well.
Do you believe T.B. Joshua is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, as his followers claim?
I believe so much that Prophet T.B. Joshua, he is the man of God. That one I cannot dispute it. He is the faithful man of God.
Will you go back to the church after this unfortunate incident that's happened?
If it's possible, I can even go now.
Thank you very much, Mpho, for giving us an eyewitness account, the first real eyewitness account we've had so far. Dr. Botha, if I can come to you, how do you view these kind of ministries in South Africa, and how do you view the offerings that you often see on pamphlets of being able to create miracles and help people in need? And who are the people that then go there? Are these people that are a little bit hopeless and feel a sense of hopelessness? And are they being preyed upon is the key question, I would think.
People who are in dire straits hold on to any straw. And religion is a very, very powerful thing in people's lives. It is one of the aspects of a person's life that gives you direction, helps you to understand the world, helps you to interpret what's going on with you and your body. And when people are in dire straits, they will definitely turn to religion. They turn to medicine as well, but they turn to religion as well for solutions. And this makes them extremely vulnerable to charlatans. And unfortunately, religion lends itself to charlatans because these guys don't have to account to anybody. They can say what they want. They generate huge amounts of money, especially the people like T.B. Joshua and the others in Nigeria. They wield enormous political power as well. and they can basically exploit people. I'm not saying they're doing it really deliberately all the time. Some of them are pure charlatans. Others are sincere.
Yeah.
They sincerely believe that they are healing people.
Thank you.
But as you said previously, the proof is outstanding. And for that reason, I'm very, very hesitant. I'm very hesitant to believe these accounts.
Mr. Botha, there's a get-out-of-jail-free card for all these preachers that claim to do miracles. They say, if you die, if they don't heal you and you die, or you don't get healed, you did not have faith. It's as simple as that. That's what they all say. And Paul, I want to come to you and ask you, in conclusion, you travel all this way to Nigeria. Here we have a man of God sitting next to me in studio. What is it that the Nigerian pastor can offer that the man of God himself here in South Africa cannot offer to our people?
Okay, thank you. Your question, it really takes me to the scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 28, where it clearly indicates that some are prophets, some are teachers, some are able to interpret tongues, some are able to heal the sick. There's nothing that other pastors here in South Africa might not do as the pastors in Nigeria. However, we must really see to it that being pastors, or if I to say it in a layman's language or in a language that everyone will understand, is that men of God or servants of God do occupy different ranks. You see, for an example, Pastor Zondo might be a prophet, or Pastor Samuel might be in a position of being able to interpret the tongues. Pastor T.B. Joshua might also be in a particular rank that he specialized, or the Lord has blessed him to specialize on that. That's why in my case, I felt like I would go to this one because he has a particular gift. Not that pastors in South Africa or in Mahike, they don't have a gift. The gift from God.
What is the gift that he has that attracted you?
Who?
T.B. Joshua.
In my case,
yes,
I went there for my spiritual upliftment.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for giving us your evidence. I want to come to you, Pastor. I want to ask you. We've seen in South Africa in this week and the last couple of months, we've seen pastors telling people to eat grass for spiritual upliftment. This week they have to drink petrol for spiritual upliftment. How do you view this?
It's wrong. Number one, it's wrong because petrol is different chemicals in it. And my fear is, you see, there's a saying, monkey see and monkey do. When the kids are watching that on television and they'll go and get the petrol and do that, the pastor has no guarantee that those children there, they won't be disturbed. Yesterday I was watching television. I saw people drinking that they tend to be a petrol.
Yes.
But I saw them becoming a little bit dizzy. That's what I saw with my eyes. I'm not sure if my eyes were telling me the truth. I think that is very dangerous. And I think the pastor, what he needs help.
He needs
help.
He needs maybe somebody like yourself to speak to him and tell him not to let people drink petrol.
I spoke to him the first time when they were eating grass, because I heard it from the news. I went to him. We met, and I said, I don't believe this is what you should be doing. Then he told me that he heard from God. I said, I think next time when you hear from God, please consult. Because the Bible says where there are many advisors, there is safety. I said, it's better that we do that. Then we prayed about this. Then I said, I still feel what you are doing, my brother, it is wrong. I love when you explain the Bible, but these things, leave them aside. This would rather just concentrate on helping how to heal HIV and AIDS and cancer and other things through our faith. But these things to me are dangerous. I think the government must be involved in this thing.
I agree with you. Archbishop Zondo, I think you are right. Faith heals anything. There is no doubt of that. If one believes, it can help you to overcome any difficulty in your life. I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank Mpho Tau for giving us your testimony, as it were, as to what happened, and then Dr. Eugene Botha in Pretoria giving us his 20 years of experience in religion and theology here in South Africa. Thank you for shedding light on what is always a difficult conversation when one talks about faith. Archbishop Stephen Zondo, thank you.
It's true. Thank you.
What are your views? What do you say? Well, we're interested in your views. At SABC Newsroom is where you can send us your views. We'll put them up if they're very good. But let's have a look at what some people are saying. Ogbeni Shehu says, 81 South Africans were killed at TB Joshua's synagogue. Incompetent and corrupt. Don't know how many Nigerians died. That is the worrying factor. No Nigerians supposedly mentioned amongst the death toll, and I can't believe that a hotel full of people could not have had any Nigerians in Nigeria. According to TB Joshua's followers, demons and unclean spirits are responsible for the Nigerian collapse, says Elvis. Then Renegade says, is our country doing anything in terms of investigating the Nigerian collapse? Yes, we are. Because so far I haven't heard anything about it. Yes, we are dealing with this at a very high diplomatic level. We must understand that this is now a diplomatic issue between nations, and we will wait for the investigation as the Archbishop pointed out. Now, today, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, who earned her title as the Mother of the Nation, staunch opponent of P.W. Botha's government, was born in Bizana, Pondoland. On this day in 1936, she played a key role in the founding of the Black Women's Federation and Black Parents Association. Both worked towards the ending of apartheid. From the SABC Newsroom team, we'd like to wish the Mother of the Nation a very happy birthday. Time for us to take a short break. We'll be back right after this.
SABC News delivers stories that
unify the nation
in many ways. Stories that inspire us
to see the world differently, appreciate
and celebrate our diversity. And mostly, they make this place a better country to live in despite our color, beliefs or culture.
I
am
Mahendra Raghunath.
Tabile Ngwado, Lulu Kabu.
Join us every day
as we provide updates on
local and international news
straight into your home.
We
are
SABC News.
Cameroon's economic capital, a unique art collection is on display. Titled Yesterday's Memory, Tomorrow's Memory.
We are trying to preserve this heritage despite many things that have changed in the designing, embroidery and the model.
If I'm telling you, you don't like it, I call it defeat.
Join Musam Khalipi on Afro Showbiz every Saturday at 19:30 CAT.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom here on SABC News. Now, the South African Human Rights Commission in the Free State has just released a report on the eviction of more than 200 families in Kwakwa. In June, residents of Bogamuso informal settlement opposite the University of the Free State in Kwakwa were evicted. The evictions follow a long court battle by the municipality against a local chief whom the municipality alleges occupied the land illegally and who may have sold it on to the residents there. Now, Free State Provincial Manager of the South African Human Rights Commission, Buang Jones, joins us in our Bloemfontein studio to tell us what is contained in the report. A very good morning to you, Buang. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Yeben.
Please tell us, what were the findings of your own investigation into this matter?
Our investigation revealed that indeed the municipality, in carrying out the eviction, violated the rights of the residents. We found that the municipality violated the right of human dignity by providing the evictees with inadequate and unsanitary sanitation facilities. We further found that the municipality, by its failure to provide adequate alternative accommodation, violated the right to housing. We further found that the lack of information and dissemination of information on plans to relocate the residents violated the rights of residents to access to information. This investigation was conducted immediately after the eviction took place. It was an endeavor from the Commission to establish if any one or more of the rights listed in Chapter 2 of the Constitution were violated by the municipality. We discovered deplorable conditions when we assigned our team to go to Qwaqwa to ascertain the conditions and the hall where the evictees were temporarily provided with shelter.
Tell us, what were your recommendations, especially to the chief who allegedly sold the land, and then the recommendations to the local municipality?
The recommendations were not specifically dealing with the conduct of the chief. The land in question is currently a subject of dispute between the municipality, the provincial government, and the chief. But our findings and recommendations were made against the municipality. We've recommended to the municipality to provide us with a relocation plan within a period of 3 months, where these evictees will be permanently resident, where they will have access to basic amenities. We've also requested the municipality to furnish us with plans to provide the evictees with alternative accommodation, because the current situation is that some evictees are residing at places where they do not have access to basic municipal services like sanitation and water. And we found this to be a gross violation of human rights. We've also requested the Provincial Department of COGTA and Human Settlements to assist the municipality through provision of the emergency housing funding to ameliorate the plight of the evictees. We've also requested the department to provide municipalities across the province with a human rights-based approach in carrying out evictions, because we have recently seen the surge of evictions, particularly in farming communities. And our concern as the Commission is that the marginalized and rural poor should be protected.
And how would you like this matter now to proceed? And just give us a quick recap as to how the people were evicted when their rights were infringed upon.
We are working closely with the provincial government. I'm scheduled to have a meeting with the HOD of COGTA. We've also requested a meeting with the MEC to discuss our findings. We also await cooperation from the municipality, which has decided not to engage with us directly, but to engage with the Commission through their lawyers, which we find unfortunate. But we will monitor compliance with our findings until the rights of the evictees are realized.
Thank you very much for joining us, Boang Jones from the South African Human Rights Commission. We're talking about the eviction of 200 families in Kwakwa. So let's move on. It's Friday. It's time to end the working week off with a bang. And who said that miracles don't happen? We found this video of a man breaking free from his braces, as it were, and getting down, showing youngsters how it really is done. Let's take a look at this miracle.
SABC News, we've got Africa covered.
Africa is growing at a rapid rate.
A huge part of this African growth is technological innovation.
Like a group of students hard at work in Uganda developing tools that will save lives. Or an African-developed payment method making the public transport industry cashless in Kenya.
You book me through M-Pesa.
There are apps only for people who live here. And the continent is accepting the growth of modern technology usage in people's everyday lives.
The ICT revolution now belongs to Africa.
This is information that matters to us.
To find out a bit more about social media and technology news, join Ms. Phumelele Zondi every Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Hello and welcome back. This is Newsroom on SABC News. Let's take a look at those top stories this morning. Gauteng Premier David Makura has asked for an urgent report on the water shortages in the province to be submitted to him today. Rand Water has denied reports of water restrictions but say they may redirect water from areas that have enough water to areas which are still running dry. A deadlocked meeting of Parliament's ad hoc committee on Nkandla will continue today. It was suspended last night when the ANC refused to budge over the opposition's demand that President Jacob Zuma appear before the committee. The ANC MPs said the president could not be held liable for misspending on his Nkandla home, nor made to refund the money. And US President Barack Obama has said that the global community has not been doing enough to respond to the crisis posed by the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. While addressing a high-level UN meeting yesterday, Obama said that there is still a significant gap between where we are and where we need to be. Now, last month saw the launch of Storm in Africa Foundation, a foundation aimed at fighting crime and protecting the youth of South Africa. With violence against our children on the increase, the foundation aims to protect our children and communities by supporting local schools and hosting events that will benefit them. The aim of the foundation is to assist not only schools but also the families and communities that have been affected by crime. And behind the foundation, a 15-year-old singer-songwriter's passion for South Africa and our youth.
Every dream and every turn that led us. At some point, we all have to say enough is enough. The killing of our children in the streets is enough. We all have to stand together as family, as community, as brothers and sisters, These are our children. These are your children. And we have to put an end to this violence.
I'm Storm in Africa. Stop killing our children. Please, let them live their dreams.
Now, two members of the team leading the project, father and son, Storm and Robbie Harrison, joins us today in studio. Welcome to Newsroom, guys.
Thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. So, Robbie, I want to start with you. Just give us some background on the foundation, where it all started.
Okay, we first started, we were doing festivals at schooling. Being a chairman of a school, we acknowledged the schools weren't really being funded enough, so we decided to have festivals where we showcase local talent, such as Storm in Africa, and with artists like Blackbird, Lock and Bull, Mimus Must, all these great guys. What happened was Storm was recording his first single, which was Dreams, and we all sat together and said, wow, this song has so much more meaning than just a song. And we approached SABC, and they joined us in the foundation, and from there it's just been a roller coaster ride.
Now, Storm, you're a 15-year-old singer-songwriter. How do you balance it all?
Well, you know, it's pretty hectic, eh? Because I still go to school, I then go home, vocal lessons, I then go to extra math because I haven't had time to learn, and then I also go to church on Thursdays.
And then your passion for the youth, where did that come from? Have you yourself been affected by crime in any way, and how are you protecting the youth of South Africa?
Not really. I've never been affected by crime. However, I am a prisoner in my own home because I haven't, like my dad, he used to ride around in the streets and on his bicycle and play soccer. I haven't really experienced any of that, so I'm a prisoner in my own home.
Robbie, if you can tell us more about the rings, the thumbs up ring and
the thumbs up ring, that's the ring. Yeah, I actually got one for you to wear.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be part of the foundation. There we go.
Please just tell me the whole message behind these rings and
the ring
is aim and
okay. The ring is, first of all, it is a thumbs ring. It's the most important digit on your hand. It's made of glass, meaning the fragile of a child. As easily as glass is broken, so is a child's life taken away. You can buy the ring obviously on www.storminafricafoundation.org, and the proceeds goes to the foundation, which we act as a rapid response to people that in need, like the Numugogo in the location or township that needs some kind of funding, like a laptop, assistance to balance their books. So we're a rapid response kind of unit.
And then the whole aim behind this is all to protect the children of South Africa. We've seen a recent spate in crimes against children and violence against children. Yeah. You also host events, if I'm not mistaken, at high schools. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, the Stormfest that we are having this Saturday at Bryanston High off William Nicol, it's going to consist of Lockenville, myself, Storm in Africa, Euphonic, and Vindaso, and many other local bands. Tickets will be sold there for R100 at the door, and you can also get tickets at Web Ticket. It's basically a festival that's there to support schools and help schools, and also for the foundation. It also is there to showcase local talent.
Then, Robbie, just to quickly wrap, anybody who wants to get involved or anybody who wants to go to this concert as well, where can they get more information?
Well, they can go onto the Stormfest website, stormfest.co.za. It will tell you everything about what you need to know. They can also contact us on the website. They can even go through Storm in Africa Foundation website, where we're doing the two projects, the Ring project and the Dream project. So, yeah, that is about it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us and telling us more all about the Stormfest and the aim and the goal behind it to save our children from crime in South Africa, protect our children and our communities. Eben is standing by with a sport wrap for this weekend.
Yeah, sport wrap. I used to do that. Storm in Africa, fantastic initiative. Support it. Go out and do your little bit, as we all need to do in South Africa. We all stand at risk sometimes of negativity and crime. Let's all make a positive contribution. Finally, South Africa and Australia clash in one of the most anticipated rugby matches in Cape Town. That'll be tomorrow. Second place in the world rankings and probably second place in the rugby championship are up for grabs for both teams. The Boks are currently ranked second, and the Wallabies third, going into the penultimate round of Southern Hemisphere matches at the tradition steep Newlands Stadium. The home team also has a proud record to defend, as the Boks have not lost to the Wallabies at this ground more than 20 years. That's in 1992, winning 6 test matches on the trot in the process. Now, Craig Murray has been with both teams for the entire week thus far. I've been following you on Facebook, taking all the selfies with all the Boks and the Wallabies, Craig.
Yeah, it's been quite a busy week. Press conferences and then lots of practice. Not quite the same as the All Blacks here, but we haven't had the All Blacks here for quite a few years. I think it's because of the Cape Crusaders. Let's hope the All Blacks will come back to Cape Town. But there's lots of rugby atmosphere in Cape Town. You know, the normal lot people that you haven't seen for weeks or months, they're coming and asking you for tickets. So there's rugby vibe in Cape Town.
Yeah, no, I might try and squeeze a ticket out of you tomorrow as well. I'm just joking. Wanted to ask you quickly about the week's preparations. Well, you know, how do you view the form of both sides? Did they look quite sharp? And I also want to, especially the Boks, and I want to talk a little bit about Oupa Mahorje as well. It should be a big week for him.
Yeah, it's good to see. You know, life's all about getting opportunities, and I'm glad the young man's getting opportunities. And you know, there were a couple of players that just overtook him in the pecking order, Jean Smith and Warren Whiteley. And interesting, that was one of the things, you know, when I asked him if he had a rugby hero, and it was Jean Smith, you know, from Bloemfontein, that he respected so much. So let's hope the young man has a good match, first game that he's starting. Both teams are prepared well. I think the Springboks look like there's a bit more intensity with them. And interesting, talking to one of the coaching staff for the Wallabies, you know, you never know how it's going to happen on the day. They thought they had their best preparation in that test match in New Zealand against the All Blacks, and the All Blacks put on 50 points. So I think the Springboks are looking good. They had 3 games away, Argentina, and then in Australia and New Zealand. They're looking forward to playing in South Africa. But this is a good Wallaby side, and you can't give them too much respect because they're good enough to make you pay for it.
I want to talk to you about the importance or significance of this match, Craig, because we've got a World Cup coming up next year, and this game will really, in that sort of context, will really count for a little bit more than normal, especially seeing that the All Blacks are almost out of sight already.
You're spot on there, Eben. You know, the Rugby Championship's important, but when you have a World Cup next year, there aren't that many test matches before that Rugby World Cup. So that's the way Heinie Kameya spoke about it. They were hoping to win away from home. They didn't. It was close affairs, but they feel that if they beat the Wallabies tomorrow and they beat the All Blacks the week after that, and then go on the end of year tour, if they can win those games, I think they would have won 12 out of 14 for the year. They'll be very happy going into it. So it's all about momentum and getting all those sort of things. Both coaches were saying, you know, the games have been played in the wet in New Zealand and Australia. So it should be, it's a bit of drizzle in Cape Town at the moment, but the weather conditions should be perfect tomorrow. It should be conducive to sort of playing a more attacking brand of rugby. What I find very interesting are the benches. You know, the game's so scientific now. It's not just the starting 15; it's the 23. And the Springboks have got 4 World Cup, winners on the bench in Bismarck du Plessis. There's J.P. Peterson, there's Bakkies Botha, and Skalk Burger. So the matches often go to that last couple of minutes, last 10 minutes, and the last minute. You need an impact off the bench, and then very important for the Wallabies. That man, Kurtley Beale, we know what he can do when legs are a bit tired. He comes on, and that's when he creates stuff for Israel Folau, who's the real star for the Wallabies, can make anything happen.
Bit of razzle-dazzle, as the Aussies call it. I wanted to talk about the changes to the side. I see the Aussies, they brought in 2 big, strong, very fast wings. It looks like they're going to play the game at high pace. And they're going to try and bring the back 3 into play as much as possible. But it's an area where we've also got a lot of pace.
No, we do indeed. Cornell Hendricks has been a revelation. And then Brian Urbana. And then obviously Willie Leroux. He didn't have the best test, the last one. But as we say, it was quite wet conditions there. I think those 2, Ashley Cooper and bringing Joe Tamani in, it's because they get the last test match against the Wallabies. It'll be interesting to see how the Springboks kicked on Folau quite a bit, because he doesn't possess the best boot. But if they keep kicking on him, he needs support as well, with the wingers coming, dropping back to help him. But if they kick, and they kick badly, Israel Folau is a brilliant rugby player. They're going to have to make sure that they tackle him. So, all in all, I think the Springboks should be too strong here, but home advantage. And there's a reason why they haven't won at Newland since 1992. There's just something about the All Blacks when they come here. They put on that All Black jersey. They front up wherever they play. But there's just been something about the Wallabies when they come to South Africa. There's that term called the soft underbelly. They just sometimes don't turn up. But they are a very good side. They should have beaten the All Blacks. They beat the Springboks. The New South Wales Waratahs won the Super Rugby, so they're not going to be an easy pushover at all.
Craig, thank you very much for that update. Always great to hear from Craig Murray, one of the most knowledgeable sport brains in the country. I say that without reservation. Craig Murray will be giving you updates from live out of Cape Town tomorrow as we build up to that match, and then a little bit of a reaction afterwards. That's where we wrap it. I'm saying the Boks to win by 14 points. Newsroom is broadcast live from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg, every weekday morning between 9 and 10 a.m. The show repeats at 2 in the afternoon with a rebroadcast at 5 a.m. the following day. Don't forget, we also stream live on YouTube. Yes, that is so. You can also watch us on demand on our YouTube channel if that is what you want a little bit later in the day. This is SABC News. You've been watching Newsroom. We simply love it in the morning.
Zoom into Africa. This is Tanzania. The president is Mr. Jakaya Kikwete. Tanzania got independent from United Kingdom on 9 December in 1961. The population is more than 47 million people.